Hello. In this twilight, we are going to be looking at using Chroma note colours to accompany singing. My name is Jenny Crow and I'm a music teacher with the Cornwall Music Service Trust. I teach first access guitar, first access ukulele, first access recorder, and I teach curriculum music. So what are Chroma notes? These are the rainbow colours seen in the boom whackers, which are the invention of Craig Ramsell from America. These rainbow colours can be seen in other instruments found in the primary school. So we see them in handbells and lovely chime bar sets, but a word of caution because in some of the sets there is a slight colour variation. And the set that you can see in the green case is the set that I'm using for today's presentation. And you can see that there are some slight different colour variations. So for example, in the handbells and on the large chimes, the A is a purple and the B is a pink, whereas in the green case, you can see that the A is a navy blue and the B is a purple. So there will be some slight variations, but not enough to worry too much, and they more or less follow the scheme of the boom whacker colours, the Chroma note colours. So you can buy stickers of Chroma note colours, and I get them on Amazon, or you can get them from music catalogues found in schools. And these are peelable. So you can label up other instruments in the classroom, which makes this colour scheme particularly versatile, because on a metallophone like this one, you can see that it goes more than an octave and you can have more notes labelled up in the colour scheme, giving you far greater range of notes to play and songs to accompany. So we can use them on xylophones, we can label up bass chimes, metallophones like we said already, and also trays of chime bars can be cleaned off and labelled up ready to use with this system. What is useful to know is the C major scale in the Chroma note colours, and you can see what it looks like on the musical stave here. You can see C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So as I play those, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So for easy reference, sometimes it's nice to know which are the notes that are found on the lines of a musical stave. So here we have Every Girl and Boy Deserves Fun. And those notes are E, G, B, D, which I haven't got on my chime bars, and F, which I haven't got on my chime bars. But if you have metallophones or xylophones, you will have those extra notes and you can go up a bit higher. And some of the notes on the musical stave are in the spaces in between the lines. And here we have F, A, C, E. And top E, which my chime bars don't reach, but faces in spaces is a nice way of remembering which notes are which. So F, A, C, E are in the spaces. So how do we accompany a song? Well, first we need to choose a song. For any reason whatsoever, Christmas, an assembly, a topic theme. I'm going to show you how to start with one note at a time, building up to playing with two notes, then an ostinato of different patterns. Songs can be found on SingUp, and this site is just brilliant because you can choose songs appropriate for your age range. So this song I found in the 5 to 7 age range for Key Stage 1, Baloo Balleri, and what I've highlighted here is just the chorus. And SingUp have PDFs of all the chords, which is really handy to know. And this is a PDF of the melody and the lyrics and the chords. You can get other PDFs, but if you see the one that says chords, you're going to find this really helpful for working out which notes you need to play along to accompany your song. The other thing that SingUp is great to have is that it does have backing tracks, and this is useful in COVID-19 because children can play along to children singing rather than necessarily have a whole class of singing it's difficult with all the windows being open and ventilated, making sure that it is safe for everybody. But you can sing quietly, you can sing a group at a time, but having a backing track is also useful because sometimes children can't sing and play when they're learning what notes to play, which colours they need and so on. So the backing tracks I find really useful. So what I have to do is find the first beat of every bar. So I've heard the someone sing up, I've got the gist of how it goes. So it goes something like this. Baloo, baleary, baloo, baleary, baloo, baleary, baloo, balee. And by looking at the first note in every bar, I only need 8 notes to play to accompany this song. So I look at the chords that I need, and sometimes it's very useful to look them up on a chord chart. So if you know you need the chord of C major, or you know that you need the chord of F major, you can look them up on a chart to find out what 3 notes of the piano or what 3 notes or a triad make that chord. So I've put a box around the 3 chords of C major, F major and D minor, which I found in this song Baloo Baleary. And I could just pop them here on the music to show you where they go. So we've got F major, C major, F major, D minor, G minor and F. Now G minor wasn't on my chord chart, so you can find what notes are in that chord by Googling them. And if you just use Google Images and you type in G minor, it comes up with little diagrams and you can see from there the notes that are in the chord of G minor. So what I've done on this is I've just picked out one note that I want the children to play because I don't expect them to play a whole chord. So I've just picked out F, G and F and G. I've just picked out F and G. And it makes a pattern in the end. So we're going to have F, F, G, F, 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 G, F. I'm going to go back to that first slide. It won't let me go back, so I'm going to carry on with it. But once you've picked out the notes that you need, you can show the children which colours they want. And to begin with, you might just want them to have just those colours in the lid of their chime bar tray so that they're not getting confused with the others. And then you just can present those letters above the lyrics of the song. And if you have the performance track in the background, you can get the children to play along. But it might be too quick. So it's much easier to just take your time and sing at your speed and sing. When we sing, we can sing the words of the song, or we can help the children by singing out the colours of the notes or the letter names of the notes. So here, I might sing this like this. Play F and F, now G, now F. Play F and G and F. And that way the children, you're supporting the children sing along to the lyrics of the song. Once you've got the children playing one note at a time, you can get them to play 2 notes at a time, which is great because using 2 hands is exactly what you want for them to develop their musicality. It's really good for their left and right brain, really good for their coordination, and if possible, the children should be using 2 beaters at all times. I know sometimes there aren't enough and we're sharing, but ideally the children need 2 beaters when they're playing. So by giving them a photograph, you can show the children how to organise their notes, and sometimes it's just easier to put them in the groups you want them to play in rather than have them all in the C major scale, which can be a bit confusing for them to find the ones that they actually need. So once you've got them in position, the children can play 2 notes at the same time. So this time they're playing an chord. So they play Baloo, Baleary, E and G, when they're learning to play, just improvise your song as you go along to support them. You could be shouting out colours, singing out letter names, singing out chords, singing out the chain. So you might just be highlighting where that E and G come along. So you might just want and play, ready for that change, change, and back again, and play, ready to change, change, and back. Then the natural progression from playing chords might be to play an ostinato. And this is when it's really important that you've got a grasp of the feeling of the song. So Baloo Balleri feels a nice 3 time. And 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you can feel that sense of 3, we can turn the chords into a repeating pattern where we can go change, back, F, A, F, A, E, G, G, F, A. And the children can practice that at as slow a speed as you like. Baloo, Balleri, and change, and back again. Baloo, Balleri, ready, E and F. After playing one note or chords or simple ostinatos, we can also learn to play a melody. We can play a tune. And the song that I've got to exemplify this comes from a book for 5 to 7-year-olds. So again, Key Stage 1. The first notes we're going to use are just E and G. So it's a 2-note song to begin with. And this song goes like this. Which fell in a ditch, picked up a penny and thought she was rich. And it's just 2 colours, E and G. So we start on the light blue note, which is G. Which fell in a ditch, picked up a penny and thought she was rich. And I've simply coloured in some blobs and put them above the lyrics of the song so that the children can see when you sing the word which, you're playing a blue note. When you sing the next word which, it's going to be a yellow one. So it just corresponds with the lyrics of the song. But the second part of the song, you have a couple of extra colours in. So we're going to add C and we're going to add A. Now this C, the children love to ask, which C, Miss? Is it the little one or is it the big one? When we talk about C, I mean middle C from the piano, which is your biggest one. So when we use C, it is the big C. So the next part of the song starts on blue, which is G. Are you my children? Yes, we're your children. So another reason this is a good song is it's the repetition in it. It gives the children chance to learn a pattern and do it again and again. Because as the song comes to an end, you've got the same pattern. Are you my children? And the children love this ending because we're finishing on that bottom C. We're finishing on middle C, which is no, we're not. Here's another way of presenting the same song. This way, the children just get to look at one line at a time. So right at the very top is the heartbeat with the numbers just 1, 2, 1, 2. Which fell in a ditch. Underneath the blue hearts, we've got the colour notes that we're now getting familiar with seeing. So we've got which which fell in a ditch. And the children can just look at that if they want to. But underneath, I've done the letter names because sometimes projector lamps are fading and the colour doesn't show up very well. And some children don't necessarily see colour as easily as others. So it's just another way in to access the same information. So I've written the names of the notes underneath. So the children begin to associate the light blue colour with the letter G and the yellow with the letter E. But not only that, I've sort of put the G up a bit and the E down a bit so the children can get to see the contour of the song. So we go up, down, up, up, down. And then you can move on to the next slide and it just continues in the same way. Up, down, 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 up, down. And in that way you can carry on to the rest of the song. And we finish with no, we're not. Up, down. So notation so far has been shown with blobs and letter names. Now I'm going to show you how we can put it onto the musical stave as staff notation has come back into the curriculum, and I wanted to show you how that can be done. And mostly I do that by looking at songbooks and copying from them. So in this song, we are beginning to go from letter names to notation, and this notation at the moment doesn't have the 5 lines of the staves, but what it does show you is whether the note is a slower one or a quicker one. So we have the king is in the castle, bow down low. The king is in the castle, bow down low. Bow down low, bow down low. The king is in the castle, bow down low. So by showing the quicker notes with the line across the top in bow down low, we've shown that these are quavers. So we've got slow notes and quicker notes. Slow and a slow and quick, quick, slow. Slow, slow, quick, quick, slow. On this slide, it shows how children can play 2 colours at the same time. So we've got chords beginning to happen as well as quavers. So we've got the prince is in the castle, wave hello. The prince is in the castle, wave hello. Wave hello, wave hello. The prince is in the castle, wave hello. And on here I was just having some fun with making the ghost sound, making a ooh trembly sound with a note. So what we thought, the children also love to do glissandos on the chime bars. They love making their beaters go up and down across the notes. So if they have F, G and A, they're all in a row in front of them, so the children can just brush them up and down to make a trembly sound. So you can find a way of presenting that to the children by showing them 3 colours and just having those zigzaggy lines to show them that we're going to be doing a glissando sound over them. So we have the ghost is in the castle, ooh, and so on. So you can have a different technique if you want to with the children. The next stage would be to leave all the chime bars in the case, because that way the children can get used to the position of the colours. It's rainbow order, which the children love anyway. Richard of York gave battle in vain. And then you're back to the C again. So rainbow colour is fantastic for the children, which is why Chroma notes are so versatile, so user-friendly. And it could be that you actually want to label up your lid as well, which is an idea I only thought of when I was making this presentation. But yeah, leave the chime bars in the box. Don't tease out the bars that you specifically need. Leave them there this time. So I've chosen a song for a new project I'm about to start about the weather. And I found this song from a book called Harlequin. And Harlequin is produced by A&C Black. And I found a song about the fog. And once I've found a song, I'm going to do the same process that I used earlier on with a song from SingUp, because I've got lots of information from this page. First of all, there's already a part designed for a metallophone. Now that could mean your xylophone, your chime bars, or your boom whackers even, or any pitched instrument that you've labelled up in those stickers. If I am not sure what that ostinato says, I need to know what the notes are. I need to find out. So I'm going to look back at my octave of coloured notes to see which one's which. And by looking at this, I can establish that the first note of the little ostinato pattern is going to be the F. The second one is going to be the E. And the third one is going to be the D. So I'm going to need F, E, D, but I'm not going to take them out. I'm going to leave them where they are, because they're all in a row, so it's not so bad a starting point. I'm also going to look at this music to find out which chords I need. So I need D minor, A, C and B flat. If I'm not sure what those chords are, I'm going to look them up and look them up on my chord chart. So I'm going to have a look to see if I can find them. And there they are. So I'm going to look at those. And I can already see the F, E, D in those chords. I can see E and C major, there's an E and A major, and there's an F and D minor. So I can see the chords from the ostinato in the chords that are in the song. Again, use Google Images if you need to find the notes of a chord. If you can't see one in the chord chart, look it up. So there was a B flat in that song, and if you don't know if it's a major or minor, just look up both of them and then look for a note that they have in common. So if it is the key chord of B flat major we need, there is an F, and if it was a B minor chord, there's still an F. So actually I know I'm safe. I can just use F, and I know it's fine because it's already in that little ostinato pattern that we've seen already. So this is all the information I need to make me have an accompaniment for this song. So here we are. This is when the fog comes down. So to begin with, I'm just going to get the children to accompany. When the fog comes down on the dull grey town, the cars go creeping oh so slow, we hardly see the way to go, and on the hedges cobwebs show when the fog comes down. Now you might have noticed that I had the letter A written there as well, and the letter A just seemed to fit in perfectly well all the way through. So A can be a continual drone, which you could have a group of children doing all the way through. When the fog comes down. And you can have them playing that drone while the other children are playing When the Fog Comes Down. But if we're going to be encouraging the children to play with two beaters, they can try and learn how to keep that A going and bring in the F, E, D, F, E, D, F, E, D. And that way they're playing a chord as well to accompany the song. So I thought you might be interested to know how to prepare a PowerPoint for your class and how to set up a notation. So here is a little film just to show you how I created a PowerPoint. You've got your new topic, you found a song that you want to do, it's nice and simple and it's got an easy ostinato, and you just want to make a PowerPoint now to present it to the class so that they can use their boom whackers or their coloured chime bars to play along. So to present the music onto a PowerPoint for them to see, you're going to need a musical stave. This is one way of doing it anyway. And so we're going to insert a table, and we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need 4 rows to create the 5 lines of a stave. We'll make it grow. We'll lose the shading. So we'll highlight it, and I'll select no fill. We're going to need borders, and we need all the inside borders that are horizontal. And we're going to need the top border, and we're going to need the bottom border, and that has created the 5 lines of the stave. Okay, so I'm going to create an ostinato with 4 bars, and I'm going to put it all on one page so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to repeat this table in a minute. What we'll do next is we'll add a treble clef. Now I've already got an image of a treble clef, and it helps if these images are transparent, because then when you copy them and paste them onto your stave, let's get back to our PowerPoint, you can still see all the lines of the stave and the image as well. Now this treble clef needs to grow because it needs to curl around that second line, but it also needs to sit on the bottom line a bit like this. Let's just nudge it down so it's sitting on the line, and it's got its curl around that second line of the stave, the G stave. Okay, now this ostinato is in 3/4 time, so I'm going to insert a text box within digit 3, and I'm going to select a font that I love at the moment, which is Bodini MT, and I'm going to highlight it. Let's try that again. So let's select it, highlight it. Let's select Bodini again because it wasn't selected the first time. There we go, Bodini MT, and we want it pretty big, I think about size 88. So it needs to fill about half the stave. So that fills the top 2 lines, and then if we copy and paste this, change the digit to 4, we've now got our time signature. We get them lined up 3, 4. So there's our time signature. Move it slightly away from its treble clef. Now this is going to be a repeating ostinato, so I'm going to need a repeat mark at the end. So here, now on the second line of music, we don't need to repeat the time signature, but we do need to keep the treble clef. So I'm going to take those away because we don't need them on the second line of music. Once you put it there at the beginning, that's enough information to know that all the rest of the pieces of music will continue to be in 3/4 time. So we need a repeat sign. I'm going to pick it up from here, and I'm going to paste it into my PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to pop it at the end. If I can line it up, stretch it slightly just to make it fit. It's not quite fitting. Let's nudge it up and extend it slightly better. It's looking a bit better. And I'm going to insert a couple of shapes, and I'm going to make them black, so little tiny black circles. And the repeat dots for the beginning of a piece of music, let's have it black. So we want the shape fill to be black, and we want the outline to be black. So I think that's about the right size.
I'm going to see if it'll let me grab that dot to copy and paste another one, so I can move it and line it up. So I have repeat at the end, and it tells me to go all the way back to the beginning to repeat it. Okay, let's add in some bar lines. So I'm going to insert a shape, and I'm going to select the line, and I need a bar line at the end, which has default to this very thin blue. So I'd like it to be black, and I'd like the shape outline to be a thicker weight. Let's make it nice and bold. There we are. So let's create a couple more copies of those. So I can put one in the middle here, slightly off center because we've got a lot of information at the beginning, and one in the middle here, slightly more central because it's not cluttered up with repeat signs or time signatures at the bottom. So our ostinato is going to be 4 bars long, and in each bar, or measure as the Americans call it, we need 3 beats. So I'm going to start with 3 crotchets, and I'm copying from the ostinato that I found in my book. So I'm going to insert another shape. I've lost my shapes. There we are. And I'm going to create the note C that they have done, and note C is in a space. And I'm going to make it red because in the Boomwhacker colours this shape is red, but I'm going to leave the outline black. It just makes it slightly clear. And then I'm going to jump an octave lower and put it down below and copy another one to create it. And I'm just copying directly from the music, so I've got my 3 crotchets. So to make them more like crotchets, they're going to need their tails. So let's just use a line. Now any note below, nice and low down, is going to have its tail pointing upwards. Something like this. But any note that is above the middle line, like these 2 are, will need its tails going down. So let's put them this side. That looks slightly long. So let's make it a little bit shorter. And we'll need another one over here for this crotchet. So there we have the beginning of our ostinato. Now the next note that I'm copying is a dotted minim. Now minims are not solid shapes, but we'll copy the blob and we'll put it into the A set part of the stave. Here we are. And we will make sure that it is not filled. There's no fill, but we'll make sure that the outline is the colour for A. That will make it very bold so it's easy for the children to see. Let's go ridiculously bold. There we are. So we've got note A, which will also need a tail. And as it's below the middle line, the tail is going to go up and it's going to need a dot. So I'm going to grab this one and I'm going to move it over here to create a dotted A. So the next part of the ostinato is exactly the same. So I'm going to grab it all, copy it, paste it, pop it into position. But I don't need this extra bar line that I've picked up by mistake. And this dotted minim is going to be note G. So it's got to come down onto the G line of the stave, and the shape outline. Now I'm going to deselect it all because I don't want everything to turn light blue, but I do want this part to change colour to match G. So there is my ostinato. This C needs a ledger line. So I'm going to create a small extra line of the stave and just put it through the middle. So that is note C, the octave below, and of course we'll need another one of those down here. So that says middle C. So that is my ostinato. Children sometimes like the letter names underneath to help them when they're first learning how to play music. So sometimes they sing the colours as they sing. So they might sing red, 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 blue. Sorry, let's add the letter name. So let's insert a text box. Let's go for capital C. Let's stick to the same Bodini font. Let's make it nice and grand. So here we have the letter name, but I'm going to make it red. And I'm going to need 4 of those. So we'll pop them underneath so the children can see what the letter names are, the absolute letter names for this ostinato. And because these are high, actually we ought to put in the apostrophe to show that it's a high one. This is the low one. Let's put this one here. Let's delete this one. And let's have some more of these. So we'll put the C, the C, and the high C. So these are all high C. Then we're going to need a letter A, which will need to be dark blue. And we're going to need the letter G, which will be light blue. Okay, and it's tidier if they all line up. So look for those dotted lines as they appear on your PowerPoint presentation. Get them all lined up. And the same along the bottom until it's looking a little bit smarter. And there we have it. There we have a repeating ostinato for the children to play during the song The Palace of Ice.
So this is the ostinato that I'm going to be using in the next song, which is also about the weather, but it's about the snow and the ice this time. And the ostinato is going to be high C, which is denoted with an apostrophe to show that it's higher up than the low C. So we've got high C, low C, high C, A. The other thing that's really lovely is introducing all the language of music to the children. So we can talk about an octave jump here because high C is an octave above the low C. So you've got that octave jump. And this ostinato is repeated, but it's going to be finishing on the note G. And my next little presentation just shows how I created this slide. So once I've created my ostinato pattern, I just need to show the children how the words of the song fit with the music that they're going to be playing. So again, I've just got one line of the song at a time so the children can play with the song. So it just goes through line by line, all the way through the chorus, right, continuing until we get to the end. So they can see that their ostinato just repeats itself for each little section. So that's quite easy for rehearsing them as well, just taking it a bit at a time. And then once the children have got the hang of it, you can present more information perhaps so that you've got the whole verse on there so that they can either sing or they can play and you can swap groups, or the song might have been memorized but it's just there as a prompt if the children have forgotten which verse they're on. And there we are, you can have them playing all the way through their song about the weather of the snow and the ice. So this next song is a song where you can have children playing in 4 parts. It's from a book of rounds. And the notation is in 4/4 time, which we haven't seen yet, but we've got 4 beats in a bar, and we've got A, G, F, E, and it's the melody of the song. So the children just learn to play drip, 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 drip. So if you've divided your class into 4 groups, you could have printed this out and you could have given one of those groups that little ostinato pattern to learn. This is the second part of the song, and you could have printed this out and given it to your second group, and they need to go away and learn this pattern. Drip, 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 drip. And you can show them the descending scale and the ascending scale, so you can show them the contour, the melody. And then here is the third part of the song, and the children can learn to do their quicker and slower notes, so they've got some quavers and some crotchets. Raindrops falling on my head. Now, not all of our chime bar sets have that high D, so you might want to do it with a low D. Raindrops falling on my head. So, or you could have both. So you could have either combination. It will sound fine, it will work together. And the children just need to be aware that they've got quick and slow notes. Quick, 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 slow. So they just need to be aware of the timing on this one. And the fourth group have this pattern to learn. Quick, 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 slow. A, G, F, E, D. So they go away and learn that one. So each group has learnt their own little ostinato. Now, once they've done that, you can bring all the 4 groups back together and each group plays their part consecutively. And that way, if they play in turn, you get the whole song. Drip, 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 drip. Raindrops falling on my head. Drip, 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 drip. So if each group has played it together, you can hear what the whole song sounds like. Now, some children, if they're older, will be tasked with learning the whole song and learning to play it all the way through. Then what you could do with your class is you could get each group to play at the same time. So you get one group up and running. So let's get the first group up and running. Drip, 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 drip. And they're up and running, playing that over and over again. Drip, 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 drip. And you bring the next group in while the other group is playing their bit. Drip, 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 drip. So you can hear the 2 parts going on. Then you bring in the third part. Raindrops falling on my head, while the other 2 groups are still going. So using your Howden signals, just keep those groups going and you will have drip, 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 drip. So you can have 3 parts going and finally bring in the last part and you add that to the mix. Drip, 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 drip. Raindrops falling on my head, raindrops falling on my head, and so on. Now obviously there's only one of me, so I can't play all 4 parts at the same time. Another way of using this is to treat it as a 2-part round. So you put the groups together in 2 halves now. So the first 2 groups start together at the beginning. Drip, 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 drip. And then at that point, the second half join in. So they start coming in, and I'll try and sing the bottom part while I play the top one. Raindrops falling on my head, drip, 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 drip. And then you can just keep it going and going until the children get good at it and enjoy that feeling of success. So finally, we come to the end of the presentation with the most difficult thing to do, which is a 4-part round, perhaps, certainly for Key Stage 1. Key Stage 2, it's a good thing to do. It would be possible in Key Stage 1 if you have 4 adults and you're able to have somebody supporting each group, because if the children have memorised this song, as long as they know when to start and you've got somebody really helping them just keep on time, it might work as a 4-part round. And to do that, each group starts in after the very first bar, which is denoted by the red star on this page. So as soon as the first group has got to trip, 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 and so on and so on, each group comes in and it'll end up in 4-part harmony, and it will be very impressive for an assembly or a recording for Zoom, because in these days we have to record things maybe for our Christmas performances rather than do a live show. So I hope you have found this useful. I hope you enjoy using Chroma Note colours and use it as simply as you like, just using colour smarty blobs or using coloured in letter names, or have a go at using musical notation and drawing out a 5-lined stave, adding that treble clef and time signatures and showing the children how many beats are in a bar and so on. So I hope this was useful and you enjoy experimenting with Chroma Note colours. Thank you for watching.